marketers, artificial intelligence, AI, everything. Chelsea, why are so many people talking about AI right now?
We're at a place where marketers are actually able to have all of the infrastructure and have all of the controls in place to be able to make something like AI truly impactful for their business. Things like having control of your data, having it in a place where you understand it, knowing what you're doing with first-party data, having it in a place that you can actually do what you need to do with the data, and really getting clarity on what's available to feed these models. So from a content perspective, generative AI is great, right? People know what they are typically putting into that. When we start talking about things like deep neural networks, that's something that the data going into that really matters, because you're talking tons of data, which you need the infrastructure to support. You're talking about the ability to use both first and third party data in a way that makes sense in the way that you feed the model. And ideally, you should be looking at making sure that model is trained on outcomes. So not just what do people look like, what's the action that you want people to take? Can you really train the model based on that? And historically, not all of that has been possible. So we're sitting at a place now where marketers are having more control and transparency than ever before in their marketing, although we should continue pushing that. And we're sitting at a place where the infrastructure and data is settling into place where people can actually start to put a strategy around how they can use AI to impact their business.
That's really right. Marketers are looking at it like we're ahead of the curve at the moment. Like taking action is more of an early adopter kind of thing. And maybe that's not quite right. Like, when is it going to be important for marketers to sit up and listen to what's happening inside of AI beyond the generative? And when is it going to start affecting their day-to-day?
I think the time to start paying attention to it is now, because we're sitting in a moment of data regulation, customer privacy being of the utmost importance, as it should be. We're also sitting in a moment where marketers are being asked to do more than they've ever been asked before, and it is often conflicting. So cut your costs, be as cost efficient as possible, but also drive growth. Those two things inherently can conflict. The way that AI can help marketers who are sitting at that moment of all of the chaos from an infrastructure and regulation standpoint, and the chaos of being asked to have two different focal points for the work that they're doing, that's really where AI can come in and shine. That is the moment where you need to branch beyond you and your team and take advantage of the capabilities that AI brings, which is to be able to do more with more data without needing to add cost, add people, add time. So I would say it's now.
Agreed.
There are a lot of people talking about AI. There are a lot of people who know that everybody feels it. They feel like it's going to be helpful for their business. And even just like speaking from the perspective of someone who has been thinking about it with a team for a long time now, AI is not something that you just push a button and say, now we have it. It's the type of thing that you really want to have a strategy around, because what you feed into a model matters. What you do with that model or what you train it on all need to really line up with your business goals. So it's something that takes thought and purpose and intention. And that's not something that you just figure out on the fly. That is something that I think marketers who are able to sit down and decide what they want artificial intelligence to do for them and for their business, that's the fundamental question that you should be able to answer in order for AI to have the most impact for you.
We're all going to have to sit in this moment of learning and expanding on what we know about AI, and even brainstorming and imagining the possibilities of what could be done with it. Even what's happening out there right now is not even beginning to scratch the surface on what it could potentially be capable of and how it could be impacting what marketers are doing. That said, where should we be looking for the trustworthy voices here and the trustworthy information? Because like we were saying, we're heading into show season, we're heading into these trade events. Everyone has an AI panel, including us. We've got an AI webinar. Where are the voices that we should be turning to? Who are really the experts and the expert resources right now?
I love that question because I feel like we as an industry have the opportunity to take the next thing, which is AI, and make it simple and easy for marketers to understand what to do with it. That doesn't make it simple to implement. It doesn't mean that there's not a whole lot of thought that goes into the creation and the ongoing management of AI. But I think for marketers, when they're looking at who to trust in that environment, the people that to trust are going to be the ones who can make it really simple, easy to understand so that there's no black boxes. And then the people that are really willing to put the marketer's strategy at the core, and more importantly, put the marketer in control of that strategy. So a lot of marketers and have experienced this over time where there's black boxes everywhere. The term black box has been also in every single industry event and panel and all of the things for years now, right? Marketers don't really know how to understand and interpret what is happening with the tech that they're using or with the data that they're using. Or they can understand it, but they can understand it in one silo or another, and they don't really see the whole picture. Coming back to how you figure out, especially with something as new and impactful as AI, who to trust in that environment, it's going to be the people that put you in the driver's seat. Let's go back to types of AI because I love that's in the webinar. And I think
Oh,
that's
perfect.
really, I think it's going to be really important for marketers to understand all of the capabilities of this really broad area that is artificial intelligence. It is not just as simple as saying artificial intelligence is ChatGPT. It's not as simple as saying artificial intelligence is neural network contextual advertising. All of those different types of AI have a role to play. And what they put out, it will determine where they are implemented. One of the first steps for marketers in understanding the strategy, and we'll talk more about this in the Adweek webinar, is understanding what you want AI to do for you and which element of AI is going to help you accomplish that goal. So if personalization is something that is super important to you as a marketer, or you're wanting to test something, or you have a creative team that's asking for more input, something like a generative AI is going to be really great for that, right? And that's really what a lot of people are talking about now. Is when you hear people reference AI, they're talking about generative AI. I actually just noticed our webinar is with AWS. I just noticed on Amazon in reviews, they have AI generated reviews that sum up all of the customer reviews for a specific product. That's generative AI. There are other types of AI. The type that we use is more of a neural network. That's really mimicking the brain, like thinking about all of the ways the brain can learn, and what you feed the brain matters for what the brain learns. And so that's where we get into things like, for a media and entertainment company, if you really want to be running artificial intelligence against your business goals, but you have business goals of driving tune in and also business goals of driving subscription, how do you make sure that those two don't cannibalize each other? What you feed the model in those instances matters because that's how the model can separate between your two business goals and be able to work best for you. So understanding what type of AI you actually need based on your business goals is going to really matter.
I'm so glad you're hitting on the webinar because it has by far been one of the funnest projects to work through. We do have Adam Solomon, the worldwide GTM lead at AWS. He's coming to us with all kinds of knowledge on AI, how it's connecting into tech for marketing right now, all the ways in which you could be leveraging it, just a lot of great info. And then we've also got our own CEO, Kristen Frank, and she's bringing that media and longtime industry perspective. She's coming to Ad Predictive, of course, from Viacom as the COO of MTV. And everything that she's bringing to the table there is so relevant to both our clients and just the industry as a whole. There's so much movement happening there right now that it's really neat to see how the stories from both of them are colliding and how that is going to shape the industry moving forward.
Couldn't agree with you more. And really, you want to talk about someone who has seen a lot of the new things come and go in the industry. Kristen, with her, what is it, like 4 decades of experience in
It's incredible.
watching what, like, the new thing that's happening, whatever that it thing is for a time period, and understanding how to harness the power of that to achieve business goals. She's seen it, she's done it.
Yeah, when we're talking about voices to trust and resources on this type of thing. I really think the conversation between the two of them is a pretty interesting place to turn. Thank you, Chelsea, for another great talk.
Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it as always.
In a couple weeks.
All right, sounds good.